Wow, that means that we're over 2.5 years worth of town halls.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Wow.
And there's been breaks as well, right? So
26. Yeah.
oh, I don't know who was first past the post. I think it was Kyriakos. Welcome, sir. And Patrick. Hey, Marcin, you're the first on camera, followed by Lloyd, then David, Simon,
Hello.
Jorge,
Hello.
Ben, Session. Everybody's here.
Apologies for a little later start. We were figuring out mics a little bit, but I think we're okay now. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, man. It's a town hall day. Come off me and say
Daryl?
hi. Where are you?
Happy Wednesday from Victoria.
Awesome.
Happy Wednesday from New York. Big week.
And from Italy as well.
Hello, Davide.
Hi,
Hello.
Daniel.
Come stai?
Very good, thank you.
Dow, good to see you with us, my man. How you keeping?
Doing awesome. Vancouver's great.
Good, man. Good to see you.
Awesome. The Zoom is clocking in a little bit. We're gonna give it another minute and not delay any longer. So, but it still keeps coming in. So it's just loading bits and pieces there. You still see, if you are able to join us on camera, feel free to do so. I see some additional extra faces. Tiziana, Einstein, James, Felix, Juan, Robert, Igor, Patrick, Sebastian, David, Jorge, Ben, Session, Dimu in the house, Christina, Kyriakos, Simon, Martin, NFT Rescue Foundation. We have on camera Mandeep, Tony. How are you doing?
Buongiorno, Tony.
Awesome. And we see a lot of other faces also who are not on camera, which is totally fine. But shout out to you all as well. Gotta get for Jeremy, Ken, Joe, Lloyd, Christian, Curtis, Maria, Bartolome, Time, Eduardo, and many more.
Hey, Oscar.
Awesome.
Hey, Igor. Good to see you here. What a week, huh?
What a week, what a month, what a year. All right, so how about we set it off? Let me set the settings, and I think we can rock and roll. So good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, maybe even good night to some of you. It is Wednesday, shortly after 5 p.m. UTC, July 19th. No other place and time than Project Catalyst Town Hall. We have a couple of videos we're going to be playing today again, so from the presentations of recently completed projects, and then we're going to be diving into what the next of the stage process looks like, especially the community review specifically in front of us. But before we do that, we're going to do the usual welcome to the experiment slide. Again, if you are on YouTube watching this live and you would like to join us directly in the Zoom, in a couple of moments, if not already, below the description in the box, you should be able to see an invite link that should allow you to register and come on in. What you're seeing is a very small sample of people probably on the front screen, maybe just those having a couple of cameras, but they don't fit all on the YouTube screen. There is a lot more people currently, about 70 people in the room, and especially for the breakout rooms, if you would like to participate at the end of the main live broadcast, when the YouTube ends, you'll be able to come over. So again, that link is in the YouTube description below, and we will warmly welcome you anytime during the broadcast, and also will reiterate this call before end of the live broadcast itself. Now, we don't have any live guests today, which is totally fine because we have a full room of people, of volunteers, and I'd like to put a call to action. The first hand up that would like to read the welcome to the experiment slide and haven't done it and has the courage and interest to do it today, please do so. So if you would like to do that, and you would like to kick us off for today's town hall for reading the welcome to the experiment slide, just raise your hand like this and I'll pick you up. Joe, awesome. All right, so we have a winner, and let me prep the slides and let's kick us off. So just a moment.
You're Joe.
Let me put it into full slideshow. All right, let's see. All right, Joe.
Morena.
How are you doing?
Morena, really good. It's Thursday morning here, very early in the morning. Okay, welcome to the experiment. things may break, lack documentation, differ greatly between the iterations, disorientate, overload, and inspire. Our goal to provide a safe and lively environment for you to explore the highest potential of human collaboration. What a mission. Let's get on with it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe, for kicking us off. Maybe if you don't mind to hang on for a minute, would you be comfortable sharing with the group like who Joe is and where you're dialing in from and what inspires you to come up to town halls and Project Catalyst at large?
For sure, absolutely. So I am based in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I am a designer by trade, and I am a mum. That's the most important job that I have in the world. And I don't think I could be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for Project Catalyst, essentially. I'm working on projects with my family and whānau here in New Zealand, and the technology, the stack, the funding we've received, none of it would have been, none of the stuff that we're doing would have been possible without Project Catalyst. So I'm here because it's making the future possible for my kids and my kids' kids.
That's amazing, Joe. And Joe, I wanted you to say a little bit about the projects that you're working on. You are actually really focused and passionate about underrepresented audiences, right?
That's right, yeah. So my family, my whānau are Māori, so they're indigenous to Aotearoa. I came here to be part of the whānau and very privileged to be adopted by them. And I'm working on a number of projects. So I do project coordination. So I'm not deep in the code. I'm more in the design and the communications and the coordination part of it. And we're working on a digital identity project for Māori here in Aotearoa, which is bringing forward some of the tribal traditions that Māori have, but they echo Indigenous traditions around the world. So we're also really pleased to be working with Continuum Loot, and Daryl works with people in British Columbia, with Indigenous people in British Columbia, and Nori and Yoram, and there are Indigenous people all around the world. So it's quite a privilege to be working on that project. Rules as Code is another project that we've been working on, and an awesome regenerative finance project. And all of these things are in their really early, you could call them pre-seed stage. They're in the exploratory stage, and literally they just wouldn't be happening without Project Catalyst.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, thank you, Joe, for coming and sharing all that with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Keep going.
Thank you. And the town hall is officially off into the start, so that's amazing. But maybe before we jump into the next station, what is Project Catalyst? Somebody may be watching on YouTube. Why are we here today? What is this all fuss about? Chris, can you help us?
Sure. Well, unless you've been living under a rock for the last month or so, you might have not come across what Project Catalyst is, but Catalyst is Cardano's innovation growth engine, which is really focused on providing grants to grassroots projects that are proposed, reviewed, and ultimately voted on by you guys in the community. So we've just gone through, wow, what a couple of weeks, huh? Everybody that's participated in submitting proposals, I want to take my hats off to you. And for anyone that's new into the audience, the last month effectively has been a proposal submission window. So you guys in the community can submit your great ideas in response to the challenges and categories that are made up as part of Fund 10. And now, as of this Monday, all of those proposal submissions have been finalized. The deadline for submissions is now closed, and we are now moving into the next stage, the community review stage. And that's then proceeding the community vote. So in a few weeks' time, the Cardano community will be voting on which of these proposals will receive funding from the Cardano treasury. And then those projects, once green-lit, will be up and running, receiving resources, delivering on their promises, and returning, hopefully, a lot of great value back into the Cardano community.
Awesome. And some of those projects, actually, we're going to have a look at what they've already done in just a moment. But before we do, just a little bit of a level setting, what's been happening and what's the volume of the cooperation, collaboration between everybody's involved. So currently, as we go into the community review stage, we actually had 2,100 registrations to become a community reviewer. Obviously, we're going to talk in a little while on how they're going to be distributed and divided between different levels. We're also progressing ever so close towards the voting, as Chris has suggested. Last week, it was 51 days or so. Now we're 43 days and closing up as well. So we're going to chat about the voter registration and the requirements again, as a reminder, towards the later part of the town hall. And yeah, there's almost 2,000 comments already logged in on the idea scale. We do encourage everybody, as you're going through the proposals and you're getting more comfortable and in tune with what the people have proposed, to leave them a comment, leave the feedback so they can sort of, think about their proposal through different lenses as well. The comments functions are still open, so feel free to share your perspectives and insights in a bit to make the information and the decision making for all of us involved much smoother experience. As you know, overall about 1.5 K of the proposals submitted, so 1,500. This number may be a little bit tuned down because we're going through the process of archiving the proposals that have requested so, or they may be missing some criteria based on like wrong numbers, missing fields and things of that nature. So, but currently it's about 1,500 proposals. So again, amazing bank of ideas. Now, if we were to fast forward towards the end from the previous funds, there were a lot of projects that are already underway, more than 1,000, in fact, of which almost 600 have completed to date. And we're going to play 3 close-up videos of 3 of them amazing projects today to see what they've been up to. The first one today is a Fund 9 proposal, Swahili Learn to Earn, from the challenge Grow Africa, Grow Cardano, by none other than the household name now, Light Donation Foundation. And we're going to listen to their video and find out a little bit more of what their journey was like. So hopefully you're going to enjoy it.
LidoNation.com provides Cardano education and community tools with an emphasis on global accessibility, participation, and hands-on training. This is the project close video for our Project Catalyst Fund 9 project, which was titled Swahili Learn to Earn.
Before we jump into that project, we will briefly reflect back to one of our first funded projects titled Swahili News, Insight and Onboarding. That project sought to translate 36 LidoNation articles into Swahili. For that project, LidoNation did not just find a translator for hire. Instead, they partnered with a group of recent college grads in Kenya, including myself, to teach them about blockchain and Cardano and get them involved in the ecosystem.
After that project, we now had a valuable library of educational Swahili language content about Cardano. We then needed to attract people to read it, learn, and participate. Something LidoNation was learning as we got more involved in Africa is that the path to Cardano onboarding there was going to be different than what we were used to. In the United States and Europe, many people first approach blockchain through casual investment through a commercial centralized exchange or investment app.
The situation is different in many parts of Africa. The availability of particular financial tools varies by country and can change quickly over time. Furthermore, in less developed economies, most people do not have disposable income to invest in new technologies like blockchain, which are undeniably volatile.
Of course, the Cardano community believes that blockchain could actually help solve some of these problems in Africa, such as access to financial tools. So how can we attract these people to learn more about it? These questions led to the Fund 9 funded project that we are closing out today. The purpose of the Swahili Learn to Earn project was to provide incentives and a path for Swahili speakers to learn, open Cardano wallets, and earn ADA and NFTs by reading articles and taking quizzes about Cardano. The dual purposes of the project were, number 1, to create an incentivized learning program to onboard hundreds of new Cardano users in Africa. And number 2, to learn about how to run a program like this as a proof of concept for the technical solutions and reward mechanisms. Depending on what we learn in this project, these solutions may have much wider applications in the future.
So now we will highlight the parts of this project that we had to build to make it work. First, we had to translate even more educational content into Swahili. So the first phase of this project was a lot like our first translation project, with the translation team working on translations and also participating in Catalyst town halls and weekly meetings to support their ongoing learning about Cardano. That ongoing learning leads to better translation work and supports our abilities to teach and help new Cardano learners in our region.
Once we had 75 articles translated to Swahili, we needed to create 75 corresponding quizzes, which would be used to test participants' knowledge and allow them to earn ADA.
Once a learner accesses the learning curriculum, they are allowed to take one lesson per day to earn $1 worth of ADA per day. At the end of each lesson is a multiple choice quiz. After taking the quiz, whether they get it right or wrong, the learner will have to wait until the next day to either take the next lesson or retry a quiz. Every registered user on Lido Nation can visit the My Lido Rewards page to view and withdraw their rewards. The Swahili Learn to Earn program was funded with $10,000 worth of ADA to provide as monetary rewards, plus learners can also earn up to 3 NFT achievement badges if they do all 75 quizzes. Pictured here is the Wise Elephant badge, which is the most advanced achievement badge.
You can see a live demo of the app in action in English or Swahili on the Lido Nation YouTube channel.
So next, we want to talk about what has been working really well with the program, and then also talk about some of the challenges and things we are learning.
This is a screenshot of our program dashboard on the website backend. The first metric I always look at is over on the left. How many learners are registered? I was nervous that it would be difficult to reach people and get them to participate, but that has not been a problem. What the numbers and the rapid rate of onboarding show is that incentivization is a very effective tool for onboarding new users. With even a small incentive, new users are now getting hands-on practice using blockchain tools like wallets, tokens, NFTs, and transactions.
So just to zoom in on these metrics a little, out of 474 learners registered, we can see that only 327 have connected their wallet to the site, and of those that have a connected wallet, only 3% are staked to any pool. Of course, we hope that many of these users will eventually stake their wallets, but what these numbers tell me is that we are really reaching brand new users.
This slide shows that more than 3,500 quizzes have been attempted by all the registered users, so we know that most people are coming back almost every day to take the next lesson. It also appears that the quizzes are not too hard and not too easy. Users are scoring an average of 89% correct on the quizzes. If there were more incorrect answers, we would worry that the quizzes were frustrating and too hard. And if it was a very high score, we might worry that they're too easy and students don't have to actually read the lessons. An interesting note is that the response correctness has ticked up noticeably in the most recent days. I don't know why specifically, but I have a guess that it may correlate to a few organized groups of learners that joined in the last days, including some organized classes led by the Goma Pool community in Congo and the Direct Ed Dev community in Kenya. Working together, we would expect that all the learners would figure out the right answer together and could push up the overall correctness average. This is exciting, but not because we care that learners get the right answers the first time. Rather, we believe that a supportive community will lead to overall more impactful outcomes.
Here, we can see how much ADA has been earned and distributed. We have a total budget of $10,000 in ADA to distribute in rewards, so we can also look here and know that with ADA around 35 cents, we have already distributed about 30% of the reward budget.
Next, we're going to talk about the challenges we had to overcome in this project and what we have learned. Making sure that there is enough money to fund developer work is always a challenge for this kind of project. One great success with the developer work on this project is that our lead developer, Darlington, worked with developer apprentices at the Gong Road Blockchain Lab in Kenya. Here's a picture of the lab, which supports developer apprenticeship, translation work, and Cardano community training programs.
Translation work is challenging and time-consuming. People with less language expertise sometimes assume that tools like Google Translate can do the job for us. But when it comes to translating unique concepts and new technologies, human translators are still very valuable and necessary.
This program did not include a KYC or identity layer, so we knew that there would be some double dippers, people trying to earn more rewards for themselves by registering multiple times. This behavior is simply human nature, and we expected it. One element of the experiment was to see how big of a problem it would be and how we could address it. We started by adding some speed bumps so that if people wanted to double dip, at least they could not do it quickly. So users had to register with a verified email address, and each verified email user could only take one quiz and earn $1 of ADA per day. Ultimately, the best way to solve this would be to implement some sort of decentralized IDs in a future version of this program.
So what is coming next? This version of the program, funded by Catalyst, will run until the ADA reward budget and NFT rewards have all been distributed. After the rewards budget runs out, we will probably keep it open as a free learning resource, or we might find a way to incentivize it with Hosky token, much like our every epoch quiz. If we could get another round of funding to keep building the next version of this project, the most important improvement will be finding a way to incorporate decentralized ID to prevent double dipping. Other ways to extend what we have already built would be to use the same tooling and offer the program to other languages or to use it with other teaching courses.
If you want to find this project or find Lido Nation, here's some links. You can find the Swahili Learn to Earn program at lidonation.com in the main menu. There's a mobile demo of how to use the program on YouTube. If you don't speak Swahili but would like to try the Lido Nation incentivized learning concept, you can play our every epoch quiz to earn Hosky or NMKR token. And you can reach us with any other questions or ideas at hello@lidonation.com or connect with any of us on Twitter.
Thank you for the votes that allowed us to build out this program. We hope it's just the start of an ongoing effort to effectively onboard more Cardano users in Africa.
Well, how about that amazing use of learning and earning at the same time? I've seen also some comments in the chat as well. Incentivization is a powerful tool if done correctly, and it can really bring wonders. And it's amazing to see how we can actually incentivize people to get excited about the content and then be rewarded for interacting with it in a way that makes them feel appreciated as well. And, you know, in exchange for the time they've spent interacting with any of the content. So I found this closeout especially exciting, and it just shows how many different possibilities and approaches there are to education, and there's not a one size fits all. And this is another element of like how diverse and rich an educational approach to talking and introducing of blockchain principles to people who may have never had exposure in the first place, and do it in a fun way and rewarding way. So congratulations to Lido Nation Foundation and everybody behind the project for making it happen. All righty, what's the next one on the menu, Chris?
Yeah, so now we've got the Fund 9 proposal from Profiler called Company Privacy Ledger. This was in the dApps and Integrations Challenge. We're going to hear from the Profiler team. Let's take it away.
Hi Catalyst, I'm Mitchell, Product Manager at Profiler, and this is Vlad, our Web3 developer, and today we're submitting the closeout report for our proposal on Company Privacy Ledger entered in Fund 8. We entered it under dApps and Integrations and requested $81,300 worth of funds. The actual proposal is a response panel within our platform for brands to manage their DSR assertions from consumers. These assertions from a technical perspective would be implemented on the blockchain so that they would be immutable. That's it from a technical perspective. The fun challenge that we completed was integrating a new and viable application built on top of Cardano. Some of the key challenges we faced were around the technicalities of how exactly to implement the ledger and at what point transactions become visible and what data is visible on chain versus which is hidden. That was also part of our privacy challenge. Technically, Vlad is going to explain how we worked around this in just a second. The core key KPI that we achieved was helping brands to manage their GDPR abidance by having a panel in which to manage DSR assertions from consumers. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick run through of how this works. So I'm on the consumer side of our panel now, and I want to assert a right to Funky Fashionista. I want to assert the right to be forgotten. So all I do is say that, I put in my email and the message, which is please forget me. I assert the DSR, data subject right, and I see here that I have this please forget me context asserted to Funky Fashionista, and I can view this on the blockchain. Vlad is going to show this in just a second. And then on the brand end, which is the part of this proposal, the KPI, I see the same assertion from Luke, and I can say done. For instance, if as the brand I had done that, I can assert the right. And what you're going to see here is that all of this information is within both sides of the panels, especially on the brand end, as well as the blockchain by clicking this. So I'm going to pass it over to Vlad, who's going to show you the data on the blockchain and just how that works.
Okay, now I'm going to show how to verify this transaction. The second transaction, which is the resolved DSR, it is a trivial transaction that was sent from our address to our address. This way it is signed with our private key. This means it's a legit one. The first hash here is transaction ID of the initial assertion transaction, F5F. The second hash is the hash of our private data, which consists of private information, additional context, and hash of initial assertion PI hash, which is this 357. And if we compile and run that, we get E508, which is exactly what is written on the blockchain. We use Blake to be 32 bytes hashes for this. Back to you, Mitchell.
Thanks, Vlad. The future of this proposal is integration fully within our platform once it launches for brands to use to manage their GDPR assertions with consumers, as well as consumers to have the same level of control over their privacy. That's it from us. This proposal is part of another one, which we'll be submitting shortly in terms of privacy and DSRs. Other than that, see you soon. If you have any questions, please email me, mitchell@profiler.com.
Great stuff. Thanks to the Profiler team. See, this is another example of another team that are delivering good value and projects and delivering on their promises. Very, very focused around IP and concerns around regulation. I know the Profiler team are deeply involved in some of the discussions around creating better policy awareness and better regulatory clarity for people to be able to follow. I think this is one instance where they're able to demonstrate a use case for how to combat against GDPR constraints. So yeah, congratulations to the team. Looking forward to seeing what comes next.
Okay.
All right, and we started the trip today in Africa, and we're going to come back and close up the trip in Africa again, and today with one last proposal closeout video from the WADA team called Nurturing Roots, and in Africa specifically. So without further ado, let's find out what the project was about.
Hi everyone, Megan here from WADA, and I will be presenting to you all today our closeout report for the project Nurturing Roots in Africa. So this project was geared towards a 6-month period of support to our hubs. So on a high level, we wanted to continue support that we had already started, either through previous projects or previous proposals, and focus on kind of what the next level of support looked like for each hub. In general, our strategy is to help in kind of a tiered basis where we start with infrastructure, making sure that there's a physical location available, they have access to reliable internet and electricity at that location, and therefore the location can be a reliable access point for people on the ground to get involved in the Cardano ecosystem. So we were able to kind of identify the areas where the hubs needed support and wanted to use this proposal to focus on creating a more concrete path to independence for each hub. So what that looked like was over the first 3 months of this project, we focused on kind of brainstorming and providing some of the initial infrastructure needs to some of the newer hubs. And for the second 3 months of the project, we focused more specifically on business planning workshops, where we led the hubs on a journey through, kind of first of all thinking at, what is a list of local and global partners that they were envisioning looking at, then coming up with, what was their own specialization, what was their own motivation, and then developing that into business ideas based on the resources that they already had, and developing that a bit further to say, what resources would you need to really make this pop? So I don't have time to obviously present everything on each of the hubs. If you would like to access a more detailed presentation, we did host a quarterly this past April, where each hub lead did present, a more full and rich version of what I'm going to very quickly run through right now. So I'll just give a quick overview, kind of some highlights from each of the hubs. Our Burkina Faso hub is a Francophone hub, and they specialize in language skills. And when I say specialized, I should really be clear, because each of the WADA hubs has a specialization, or kind of an implied specialization of Web3 technology in some facet, either education, dApp creation, or events. But on top of those basic sort of specializations, some of the hubs have something else in particular that they're doing. So for this hub, it's language services. Our hub in Cameroon is focusing on agriculture as well as cultural endeavors. We have some partnerships with a Pan-African library here where we've been doing cultural events, but also we have a farm and are actively working towards integrating IT into our farming. Specifically, a project that we have coming up is NF Trees. And also, I will say one thing in particular about our Cameroon hub is their focus on more of the technical education, training, just wrapping up a Train the Trainer program. We have now 4 trainers who have gone through this program and are ready to be assigned to some of the other WADA hubs as a Haskell/Plutus mentor. So we're really excited about that. Moving on to the Goma hub, they're also specializing in agriculture, but more with an emphasis on the environment. Through the Goma stake pool, they've already started things like planting trees and are looking to launch their own NF tree solution targeting erosion. We have Up-to-Date Developers, which is an existing IT company that came to us kind of looking for a way to boost their activities to incorporate more Web3 technology, and they were especially interested in Cardano. So they have been kind of offering a lot of these different services already, such as software development, graphic design, consultancy, and with us are looking to boost that to integrate kind of what can be done on the Cardano side of things. The hub in Accra is specializing really in blockchain education and awareness through numerous events, etc. In the northern region of Ghana, Nalerigu, they are focusing more on technological literacy, offering a variety of ICT training to just kind of onboard people into all these new Web3 applications and making sure that their community has access to them in the sense that they're able to use them. One of our newer hubs in Senegal, they are really focusing on the youth. They've been doing activities with a local high school. And our newest emerging hub in Sierra Leone is looking at an existing school that they have already started, adding more computers in that school and a full-time IT teacher to kind of improve computer literacy in the area. And on the other hand, focusing on encouraging regenerative agriculture in the area, also as a way to create local revenue to fund some of these things. So that's a really fast, sped up version of kind of an overview of some of the amazing things that our hubs are doing. I would encourage everyone to see the full presentation that we will link in the WADA YouTube channel. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks Project Catalyst and the community for making all of this possible.
Amazing. Thank you to Megan to take the stage on the video and walking us through the closeout of this project. Kudos to the entire WADA team. I can't stress enough how exciting it is. Code is amazing. It's important. It basically what propels the ecosystem on the technological level, but everything serves humans interacting with it and creating those hubs and connections. And whether it's through the education, as we've heard in the first part of the presentations today, or collaboration through the myriad of the hubs, like in this case, it's fundamental piece of the culture fabric in Cardano, making those connections between individuals and essentially trying to imagine how can we build and innovate together for the tools and processes of tomorrow. So again, kudos to WADA, amazing work as always, and we're going to be looking forward to see what the future holds for them. If you would like to see more of these projects, because we could fit only 3 today, make sure to navigate to projectcatalyst.io/funds or go to the WADA Nation as well, and then specifically look for the projects which are completed. There's lots of closeout videos and other assets that you'll be able to leverage and to check out how your past projects are doing. If the projects are not completed, you'll be also able to dive into the detail of their monthly reporting. Again, lots of exciting stuff happening there, and overall closing on almost 600 projects in total.
I'd say just even to mention that the slide has a typo on it. We're actually at 581 projects completed as of today. So
whoop, whoop.
I think we'll be at 600 next week, maybe certainly before maybe August arrives. That's awesome, because we were just at 500 just a second ago, right? Okay, so Danny, I'm going to take over for a little bit now. That's all good by you?
Go for it.
So we're going to be talking about the community review stage now. As of Monday, this week just gone, the community review registration process and phases just concluded. And as Dan said earlier on, 2,100 community reviewers have registered to review and give their feedback and opinions about the 1,500 plus proposals submitted into Catalyst. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk you through what this process looks like. And for those of you that might not be familiar with the different stages of Catalyst, we'll provide an overview of what community reviews are all about. Next slide, please. So, Danny, do you want to mention anything about the timeline just very quickly?
So just that we're in the middle of preparation period. So just where the registration ended and the review period to begin. So we're in between those two bubbles, and you're going to find out what's happening in between and what all those other bubbles are going to be around. And we're going to come back to this slide in the later part of the presentation, but essentially registrations are done and we're prepping the next stage. And what the next stage is about, that's all over to you.
Great stuff. I think we can go into the next slide. Fab. So typically in traditional funding programs for grants, and even when you're seeking investment, really it revolves around a really small number of people that make the decisions on which of those projects or ventures get funded. But since we're a decentralized grant program and trailblazing in alternative finance for startup innovation, Catalyst is really all about empowering the community to determine which of the proposals get funded. And this community feedback stage really plays a pivotal role in helping the network and the system to self-regulate this funding process. So during the community review stage, community members review and provide feedback on the different proposals. And it's important to note that reviewers come from a great deal of backgrounds. So they're not always going to be experts. This is a permissionless system. And therefore, you know, there are various levels of experience. Maybe some community reviewers have been in Cardano for a long, long time. Maybe they're really fairly new to Cardano and Catalyst for that matter. So it's always worth bearing in mind that this is a way for the breadth of the community to be able to provide their opinions, and all opinions are welcomed. Moving on, next slide, please. So if you're new to Catalyst and this is your first time participating, you might not really realize the value that community review provides or what value you're actually able to receive in return. So during this stage, as I said, reviewers share their personal opinions about how well a proposal aligns with the funding criteria. And this includes impact or feasibility. So the impact that the proposal is going to bring to the Cardano ecosystem, the feasibility of whether that plan and that project is able to actually deliver on what they say they're going to be able to deliver, and some commentary on whether the proposal actually represents value for money. Those are the key things that community reviewers are providing feedback on. Each proposal receives rankings from between 1 to 5 as scores in those 3 areas based on how well they meet the criteria. And then these combined perspectives allow voters to then understand community sentiment for those people that have reviewed those proposals, and helps to provide data for voters to consider when making their choices. It's also important to understand that reviewers not only are providing feedback on these specific scores and criteria, but we would encourage reviewers to provide feedback and suggestions on how the proposal could be improved or further enhanced. In the event that proposals don't secure funding, then that feedback's really important, and they can use those suggestions on how to enhance the proposal when they submit in following funding rounds. Next slide, please. So there's been a number of changes between the previous funding rounds and Fund 10. So in Fund 9, we had the idea that instead of it being called community review, it was known as assess QA, the assessment stage. And we had names for different types of assessors, proposal assessors or PAs, and veteran proposal assessors, VPAs. Now, the key thing in terms of the difference and the change here is that it's more than just a change of the name. It's worthwhile highlighting, as I said earlier, that this isn't a formal assessment and a formal evaluation. Often those sorts of evaluations would be done by experts, and only experts really, that understand the technology or the implications and the feasibility of the nuts and bolts of a project. But as I said earlier, this is broadly permissionless, and so this is more like a community review. This is more like people giving their opinions and feedback, much like you might do if you had a great stay in a hotel, or didn't find that the product that you bought from your favorite e-commerce platform worked quite as well as you thought you would. In any case, I digress. So this stage for Fund 10, very much community review, and there are 3 different levels to community reviewers: level 0, level 1, and level 2. Whereas in Fund 9, proposal assessors provided a star rating in aggregate, like the star rating was provided to voters as a sum of the scores. In Fund 10, community reviewers will provide feedback and scores against each of the 3 criteria, and this breakdown of information and the breakdown of scores is what's going to be provided to voters. So overall, voters are getting more data. In Fund 9, we had VPAs. In Fund 10, we have community moderators. So the difference being here is that VPAs were making an opinion on judging a subjective opinion really on the quality of the PA's review. And what this meant was that you had typically a group of people, a small group of people, becoming the judge and jury over whether or not the quality of a proposal assessor's output was good enough. And that was affecting the rewards and the incentives that the PAs were receiving. It also meant that proposers were flagging if they felt that the PA's review was unfair or inaccurate. And VPAs would then have to make a judgment as to whether or not that flag from a proposer should be included, or whether that review, that assessment should be not included. And unfortunately, what we learned between Fund 9 and Fund 10 was that this really promoted some biases. You found that proposers just didn't like that proposal assessors didn't think their proposal was high scoring, and therefore would flag that their proposal was unfairly scored. And actually what we saw is that VPAs typically defaulted to removing the proposal assessor's opinion. And so you had a reasonably small group of people judging a slightly larger group of people, and not everybody was experts or qualified to make that call. So instead, for Fund 10, Level 2 reviewers are called community moderators, and all they're doing is they're sanity checking, should this review, is there any reason why this review shouldn't be passed to voters? And generally speaking, much like in community moderations of Discord groups or Telegram groups, generally speaking, most people's opinions are mostly absolutely welcomed, even if it is slightly negative, right? Or even if it isn't overly optimistic or exuberant, right? So, but ultimately, the VPA role is now community moderators, and moderators are effectively providing a spot check on reviews, and they're also reviewing reviews that have been flagged by Catalyst scripts. So these Catalyst scripts are automatically looking at all of the reviews that reviewers are providing, and then the moderators are essentially sanity checking that they should be included in the process. Moving on, Danny. I'm going to hand to you.
All right, so on a slide in front of you, we have a bit of a visual representation of what that flow could look like. So, there was first, we began with the community review registration process, which was open for a period of time, and it expired on this past Monday. What will happen next is that all reviewers will be sent an email with community review instructions just to level set where things are. If you're interested, those are published on Gitbook. So if you go to docs.projectcatalyst.io and how to perform or participate in community reviews, you will see a lot of those relevant information there, which is also hyperlinked on the slide in front of you. Essentially what will happen is that once you receive an email, you will be also notified whether you are level 0 or level 1, which we'll be talking about in some of the following slides. And you will be also known where to go and check your assigned proposals to review and then proceed with it. That list of assigned proposals will be allocated via idea scale profile field, and I'll show you in the next slide where to look for it once that happens. And then just to level set that both level 0 and level 1 workload will be done on idea scale itself. After reviews are completed, they're then all passed to the Catalyst scripts that Chris just talked about. For the flag review will be passed also on the level stage for the moderation steps. So if you signed up for community review, you will receive an email notifying you again that this is actually about to happen. This is scheduled to take place during the day tomorrow. And then in that email, you will be notified whether you were level 0 and level 1. You will be able to find that identification inside your idea scale profile under the first do not edit field, which says level, that you see on the bottom half of this screenshot. So in your profile, you'll be able to see this. What is more important is that the allocation field is where you are going to receive the allocation of your reviews that you are allowed to perform. There'll be name of the proposal and the direct link to go for. So again, you will find this then inside of your idea scale profile under the second tab of allocations. Make sure not to edit these fields. We are able to populate them, but if you edit them, they're going to be out of sync, and you will maybe miss the proposals that you would like to review, or if you add some other links, you may disqualify yourself from earning the rewards for something that you've been putting a lot of hard work in. Then once we get to the level 2 process, a bit of a foresight, in about 2 weeks time, after the level 0s and level 1s are done, we're going to go through the community review process. Again, level 2s will be sent another email with a secure login to the moderation module. They will receive inside that module a flag reviews that they will be basically processing. They'll be determining whether the flags are legitimate or not, providing the moderation figure, and essentially creating consensus around the outcome of the first part of the community review stage. What is super exciting is that this time around, there will be no spreadsheets involved. This is the first time we're actually deploying a moderation module, the proof of concept, which is going to be in the production to allow people to leverage it in a simple UI interface that should be prone less to errors, because there's no more spreadsheets and rows and things of that nature. So it will be an actual place to log in and perform the work, which should make it much more efficient and streamlined overall, which is I'm really excited for the level 2 moderators, because it is another step away from the functions that we've traditionally been tied to some of the other processes as such. Chris?
Yeah, I think it's just worthwhile calling out as well that there's a couple of questions in the chat or statements that or points being made. So you as reviewers, you are going to be allocated proposals to review. You can deviate from that allocation, but if you choose to review proposals outside of that, then those reviews will be given a lower weighted score compared to the allocated proposal reviews. And the logic is there that, if you're just going to go and support all your mates' proposals, give them top scores, then, we need to account for that, right? So this is a way of just being able to make sure that you're able to review the proposals you want to, but it's obviously just worthwhile bearing in mind what that effect has. For more information, do read through all of the guidelines in the Catalyst Git book, as the link is there on the screen. You guys that are going to be reviewing, you are going to be reviewing, as I said, against these 3 criterion. Impact: does the proposal have the potential to provide an impact positively to Cardano? The feasibility and capability of the team and resources to deliver. Is it feasible? Does the proposal have the capacity and capability to deliver the project and manage treasury funds properly? And resources and value for money. Does the proposal represent good value for money for the treasury and for the community? And do they have the team to be able to deliver? That's really important. You score 1 to 5. It's really worthwhile pointing out that there is an example in the Catalyst Git book. Please do not use the Catalyst Git book example as to how to write your reviews. It's just there for illustrative purposes only. And if you copy paste it, it will be picked up and likely to be flagged by scripts. So just be mindful of that. Read through the guidelines and then, have fun reviewing. Moving on. So we do have these 3 levels. I'll just skip through this slide quite quickly. There's over 1,900 registered level 0s, 217 registered level 1s. Level 0s are really new reviewers. Just to summarize, you're going to get allocated up to 30 proposals to review, or you'll be allocated 30, and then you've got up to 30 to review. And then your rewards are going to be split between all of the level 0 reviewers, with a maximum of 17 ADA per review completed. Obviously, the more reviewers and the more reviews that everybody does, the less that per review rate will be. For level 1s are reviewers that have got a bit of experience. They've performed at least 10 reviews in previous rounds to an acceptance threshold of 70%. So over 2/3 of those reviews were considered good, so to speak. You guys will be allocated an initial allocation of up to 80 proposals to review. You can choose not to do all of the allocation. That's absolutely fine. You can deviate from that, but then obviously you're not going to receive all those rewards, and the score weighting will be affected. These level 1s will be receiving a fixed rate of 33 ADA per allocated review. And any additional reviews that are done beyond that, they'll then be added into the pot of level 0 reviews. So again, the more reviews that you do beyond your allocation, that's fine for you to do so, but the rewards for that are going to be calculated as part of the level 0 pot. And then level 2 moderators, you guys have performed a number of reviews, 20 in this instance, at a higher threshold assessment rate of acceptance rate, should I say, 80%. There's no maximum allocation of how many flag reviews you're going to be checking, but it's pretty light work. It's very straightforward. It's just sanity check. And as a result, you should be able to skip through quite a few checks fairly quickly, and you'll be rewarded a maximum amount of 5 ADA per flagged review. Okay, moving on. So there is an idea for you for people to be able to progress through the levels. So, as you go from level 0 and you performed your role, hopefully next fund you'll be at level 1. Level 1s that are performed will hopefully be level 2s. And beyond the moderation process, it's really interesting to call out that level 2 reviewers are going to be invited to participate in supporting the proof of achievement verification. So once funded projects are actually in the wild and doing their thing, then with our new milestone-based model, we're inviting community members to help to sanity check and verify that milestones were delivered and that deliverables were produced and value was delivered and achieved. So you guys as level 2 community moderators will be invited to help participate in that round. And after Fund 10, we'll be taking a retrospective look at the community review stage and looking to identify where we could maybe improve and determine what the thresholds and benchmarks for these community reviewer stages and thresholds to progress through these different role types and capabilities. Okay, and then I think it's just worthwhile talking about what this means for the vote. So as we said, the community review stage is there to provide data to the voters. For voters, you need to keep in mind that not all reviewer feedback should be seen as expert advice. It very much should be seen as an opinion only. So you need to obviously make your own minds up as to whether or not to vote for proposals and use community review feedback as a data point. The review score, so the star rating, is no longer going to be the first thing that voters see. They're going to see the proposal. They're going to, hopefully voters will click in to read the proposal, and then you'll be able to expand the modal which gives you the scoring and then the community reviewers feedback. You will also be able to have as voters the option to filter by various different filters, and one of them will be the ascending and descending scores against those 3 criteria: impact, feasibility, and value for money. And then the final point is after Fund 10's concluded, rewards for participating in community review will be sent out as early as possible once voting is finished. Okay, so that's the TLDR on community review. I think we should also just take a little bit of time just to understand a bit more about each other. So when we started Catalyst, 2.5 years ago, there was a lot of talk about how do we ensure that people empathize with each other and make sure that empathy is kind of a key pillar and tenet, even if it's not like a core value of what we do, but is certainly something that we keep in mind in all that we do. So for us within the Catalyst team, we want to empathize with everybody that's participating in Catalyst as best we can. But we also want to encourage people to empathize with each other when playing a role as vital as the community review or even voting on people's proposals. We've got to remember that there's obviously a lot of different experience levels and people's backgrounds from all different parts of the world. And so, this might be the first time that someone's submitted a proposal into Catalyst. And as a result, it's important to understand there are real humans with feelings and that have spent time and effort and many hours putting together these proposals in a lot of instances, maybe weeks, maybe months. So to come in and just be anything less than constructive with your feedback and helping them to improve on their efforts in subsequent rounds, that's going to help to encourage people to come back to Catalyst. If as reviewers or, you know, people in social media at large are trampling all over people's hard work and ideas and not putting themselves into the shoes of those people that spent the time and effort to submit the proposals in the first place, if we're not doing that, then I don't think we're doing ourselves any service to onboarding new people into the community. With that said, obviously we need to be mindful that there are going to be, as our friends at Lido Nations and Stephanie pointed out, people that might try to game systems. So we do need to be vigilant, right? But again, you know, we can do that with a duty of care to everybody in the community, and understand that, you know, in the vast majority of instances, people are coming into this process with the best of intentions. And so I want everybody to, as a takeaway from this, to remember to be kind to each other. And there's a couple of really interesting quotes that I think I'll leave you on around this idea and this concept of empathy. One of them being that the greatest gift of being human is that we, in each of us, hold the power of empathy. And empathy is about standing into someone else's shoes and feeling with their hearts or seeing what they see. Not only is empathy hard to outsource or to automate, it really does make the world a better place. It's really dangerous to think of yourself as a hero and someone else as a villain. This really gets in the way of empathy. So in Catalyst, it seems easy to mistake someone's proposal as a fraud, when perhaps it's more that the proposer is simply new to the process. So remember, guys, be kind. Okay, that's enough of the philosophy. Let's maybe move on.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for walking through all of that and also level setting on some of the place and the space could benefit from. All right, so to regroup very quickly so we don't prolong this town hall any longer, community review timeline is in front of you. So we started this section with the community review timeline. We're going to finish it with registration ended July 17th, just 2 days ago, and the review period is set about to begin tomorrow during the day, and it will be open for 2 weeks until August 3rd. And this is when the level 0s and level 1s will participate. Level 2s will come into play later between August 10th and August 17th. So we're going to pay attention more to that period once we get closer to that time frame. So again, I saw some questions in the chat. How do I find out which one level I am? You will receive an email with notification saying that you're level 0 or level 1. And then you will also be able to find that in those do not edit fields inside your idea scale profile where you initially registered your interest, where also you will be able to find the allocations. Again, we should be able to get it done during the day tomorrow. We're hoping that before end of this week, tomorrow and Friday, everything should be on the way. But there is a fair bit amount of proposals that we also going through still. So please bear with us, but the targeted start is a daytime tomorrow during the UTC. So keep an eye on those emails or then check in with the idea scale. Announcements will be also pushed on the usual channels announcing that this has indeed started. So do not fear about missing out. All right. Brief reminder, Fund 10 voter registration is underway. Snapshot is approaching August 18th at 9 p.m. UTC, so you still have some time. I do encourage you to check out the Gitbook, docs.projectcatalyst.io, where you can see the full suite of supported wallets. I think as of Monday, the wallet was another wallet that now has capability to register with the new metadata is Daedalus as well. So go check out on the wallet readiness page to make sure that your combination is live. So if you are a Daedalus user, that wallet has been updated as well with the latest standard. We do have some indication there may be some challenges with how I think it was the Yoroi mobile version, that how it's processing the registration. So if you have done recently registrations with the Yoroi mobile interface, there you may need to reach out to your support to figure out if they're working properly or not, but we're still looking into it. Catalyst team is always updating the team's website to ensure that all wallets are functioning properly. Again, Catalyst is wallet agnostic. It is generally up to the wallets to implement the standards correctly and then essentially ensure that the voter registrations are done on point. The voting itself, again, nothing has changed. First 2 weeks of September is when that should be taking place. And broadly, yeah, we're just going to zoom out. The finalization deadline, everything has shifted behind us, and the community review is in front of us. And then again, we're going to jump over into the voting later in September, and then the results again expected to be around September 21st as such. Again, if you would like to catch up on what's happening in some other places, we're holding weekly AMAs with the Catalyst team. Again, if you would like to catch the last week's, there's a recording here on the slide. If you would like to join us for this week's AMA, again, number 26, will be taking place again this Friday at 4 p.m. UTC, and the link is on the slide in here, and we would warmly welcome you to join as well. And that's it for the main part of the town hall. Again, we'll be back here again at 5 p.m. UTC next week. But what I am keen to know is what kind of after town hall breakout rooms are on the menu today, where we get to actually meet and chat and mingle. So Peter, how are you doing? Take it away.
Doing well, Danny. Thank you. And let me share my screen here. All right, should be good to go. Welcome to the Catalyst Swarm After Town Hall. It's July 19th, and we're here to discover the power of our community. This is not the only town hall. There are other town halls, region specific, happening in the virtual space all over the world, and I encourage you to check them out. There's some links here. Please follow them. And this page will be a link to that or a QR code to that is available a little later on in my presentation. Moving on. If you would like to join other virtual events, here's a few more happening in the ecosystem. Each one meets regularly and has a community of their own. And lots of people have found value in participating. So I encourage you to go and check them out. Now, with that, if you want to host your own breakout room, you can fill out this form here. So you'd click this, boom, fill it out, and you can either put in a breakout room or a separate event that you're hosting in the community, and we'll put it on our Google Calendar over here, which is a shareable. All right. If you would like to look at this document, this HTML page right here, you can click here or scan this QR code. We try and update this on Tuesdays, sometime after 1700 UTC, so you can go there to confirm your room, or just check because you're curious. My team does have a proposal in Fund 10. You can scan this QR code or click this link and check it out. We would love your support. And a little disclaimer on that: if this proposal doesn't get funded, we are looking to onboard another team to take our spots, and we have a playbook, so it should be a fairly simple handoff. And we already have some people reaching out interested to help, and that's awesome and warms my heart. All right, now let's get into the breakout rooms today. All right, we have Sala de Cafe here. Cardano Hispanic and Portuguese speaking communities are very faithful every week in hosting a space, and we're happy to have them. We have Logan Panshot and his project partner Justin here to prepare for the arrival of D-Reps. It sounds like an interesting conversation. I encourage you to join there. Harrison is here to talk about boosting Cardano's ecosystem exposure through events. You're joining him for a little bit over there. Encourage you to join as well. Got Catalyst over coffee. Jenny and Alexa are hosting their Cardano over coffee in the after town hall. It looks like they're interested in creating a regular space here as well, and super happy to have them. I hung out with them last week for a while. It was a great conversation. DAOs love Cardano. Harsha and Newman are here to listen. You got the challenge team here to listen to your proposals and hear your pitches and encourage collaboration. These guys are awesome, and if you're proposing in that challenge, definitely get into one of these after town halls that they host and pitch, because it'll be good to have those connections. All right, and Lloyd Duhan is here to talk about Catalyst risk assessment protocol, and I'm sure he'll explain more about that and the insights that he has come up with. And last but not least, we got Simon Peters and Noach Detweiler here to talk about risk with Cerberus, and I encourage you to find out what Simon and Noach are about. And with that, we'll have 3 open rooms for you to hang out with someone you've been in a private DM with or whatnot to get some face-to-face time. These are open rooms. Feel free to hop in them, invite other people to hop in them to have conversation in a more secluded space. And with that, if any of these hosts here send their recordings to coreswarm@gmail.com, I'll drop that in the chat. We will upload them to the Coreswarm YouTube. And back to you, Danny. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter, for another great after town hall introduction. As always, looking forward to having some really good quality conversations. There's a lot to choose from today. Having said that, our main broadcast on YouTube concludes the first part of the town hall. If you are watching this live and wish to continue, please don't be shy to come down in person for any of these Zoom breakout sessions. You can find the link in the YouTube video description just below this window, and you should be with us in a very few moments. And for everyone who is sadly out of time for today, whether here or on YouTube, once more, we do appreciate you spending time with us here and the community. Hopefully you enjoyed today's presentations, and I'm going to look forward having you here with us 1 week from now. It should be July 26th or so at 5 p.m. UTC. So keep up everything that you're doing. I see everybody working hard out there as well. Stay true to yourself, stay kind, as Chris said, be curious, engage in respectful discourse, and just don't get baited into reactions just for the sake of it. And your mind will be much clearer than that. And that is it for today. So we'll catch you guys and girls next time.